Hello everyone, my name is Stephen George and I edit videos. I guess I'm going to put it like that. I've been asked for a long time to actually show the process of me creating vlogs, creating videos, because I've been doing this for 700 something days now and I haven't actually shown the process. So people have asked this over and over, so I decided that I would actually show you how I do it. The first thing I do is copy over the footage. I've already done that, but basically that's just connecting the flip and then copying over the files. This is the vlog videos folder. It houses all the video files that become finished. So we have, stuff we've finished, blah, blah, blah. And generally, I hold on to all the files until we get to another half-year mark. Then I burn them all off with the with a disk or something. Actually, I think I need to keep burning these. I don't think we hit another half-year point until somewhere down here, but whatever. In the Edit Me folder is where we have all of the actual raw files. So the first thing I do is I would connect the flip, and I drag over this day's raw files. Today we're going to be editing 786. So then we open up Compressor, and I've already made a new batch, and we're going to just drag these files over here into Compressor. And let's select all of these. And I have a setting that I've already made for this. It's Apple ProRes 422 LT, and I found that this setting is probably the best for video, period. I've used regular 422 in the past for, I think Phoenix Beyond we used regular. No, actually no, we used LT on that. LT is basically a lower quality, but honestly, at the data rate that it uses, it's so high that it doesn't matter. Like, there's actually LT, and then there's normal, and then there's HQ, so that's even higher, but it's really overkill. It doesn't make any sense. So I always use LT. I record all of the console games. I record all of that to ProRes 422 LT. It's just a really, really good codec. It's really, really awesome. So we're going to put that on all of these. And by default, I have it set to go back to the source, which means that we're going to get 3 new files in here. And after that, I'm just going to go ahead and hit Submit. And I have 2 options here. I have my cluster, which is this computer. That's going to render it out using the computer. I also have a quick cluster, which takes use of all of the cores, and it'll basically transcode all of these files way, way faster. I just can't be doing too much else while I'm doing it, or else the computer tends to die. For this purpose, even though I'm recording a video while this is going on, I think the computer will be fine. So we're going to hit Quick Cluster and hope it doesn't kill itself. So open up the batch monitor, come up with the quick cluster, I can speak. And as soon as this comes up, you can see I just did the Catherine demo in Skyrim. So hopefully this will get started, and it should be over pretty quick. We'll just speed this up a bit. All right, so it took about 5.5 minutes or so, which is pretty good. If you're wondering why we have to transcode the footage in the first place, it's because the flip records content at H.264 is the codec it uses, which is a great codec. It's what I use whenever I put stuff on the internet, but it's a finishing codec. It's a finishing format. It's not an editing format, and Final Cut will not even take it. Once you put these files into Final Cut explodes. Although I think it's certain attributes in the codec, because we'll shoot T2I footage and I'll edit that directly. But generally, I always transcode my footage. So now that we have this transcoded footage, you can see we have it in here. So here's our new stuff. We're going to go into Final Cut. We're going to make a new project, and we're going to drag this stuff into here and drag this stuff right onto the timeline. This is not how you should actually edit. I'll go ahead and match the settings. And some of you are saying, what do you mean this isn't how you should edit? Well, it's not. To be quite honest, this is not how you would generally edit something. Generally, what you would do is you would open up your clips individually, you would mark in and out points, and then you would hit either F9 or F10 and throw them onto the timeline that way. The reason I don't do that is twofold. It's because I used to not transcode my footage. I used to put it directly into Final Cut and then render it, which is not a good idea. You shouldn't do that because it takes way longer than transcoding it. But for like the first 500 days or so, I did that. It was stupid, but that's how I used to do it. It's one of those situations where you get used to doing something and it's working, so you don't change it, even though there's a better way of doing it. Yeah, okay, it's one of those things. So anyway, now that we have the footage in here, we can edit it. So like I said, normally you would mark in and out up here, but we didn't do that. We're just going to be throwing it down here. The other reason, besides I am used to doing it this way, is that it's all linear. Normally when you edit something, you have a bunch of different clips and you're adding it that way. But editing this way is the way a lot of beginners edit. But it's not so bad when you're doing a vlog because it is all linear. Nothing is going to be out of place. You're not going to be like, oh, I'm going to move this over here and this over here. I mean, you can edit this way. Should you? Not really. But in this particular case, I believe it's warranted, so I still edit it like this. Same thing with the LPs, actually. Like, if we jump over here to Skyrim 26, I just bring it in and then just cut out the pieces I don't need because, quite honestly, it's the same. It's the same way. I might be able to save a little time by doing it the other way. I don't know. It's just one of those things. I've never done it that way. I like if I'm going to edit like traditional Nintendo speaks or whenever I was working at stuff at SCAD, I would mark in and out, but usually I don't. So I don't know if I should try and get used to it that way again, but whatever. Anyway, Command Alt W brings up our waveforms, and Shift T makes this bigger so we can see it. Then I generally drag this down, and I have some buttons on my mouse mapped to zoom in and out, so that's what you're going to see. Then the next thing we're going to do is Command R. Oh, we're going to have to save it first, that's right. So we're going to name the sequence day 786, save that, and then we'll do Command Shift S to save the project. Come down here to Documents, Final Cut Documents, Projects, Vlogs, do 786. I haven't actually edited 4 or 5 yet, but I'm going to show you guys anyway. Okay, so now Command S, Command R. That's going to write the audio because the audio isn't the correct format that we need. That's probably just a compressor setting. It's one of those things that because this takes like 10 seconds to do, I've never bothered to change it because once again, you get comfortable doing it a particular way. That's like what I was saying. It probably would be faster for me to mark in and out, but I never used to do it that way because I had to render it on the timeline. So now that I've changed it, maybe I should do that. And from this point on, it's pretty straightforward. The way I normally do things is, let's see here. Why can't I hear this? Okay, that's better. Sorry about that. I didn't actually have my headset plugged in, which was stupid. Anyway, let's see here. The other thing that I have to do before I continue is Command A and then Control period, and that rebalances the audio to the center. For some weird reason, this new flip, whenever I was using the old flip, the black one, it was already balanced, but the new one is leaning towards the left a little bit. And I think there was like 2 vlogs where I didn't realize it was doing that, and then someone pointed it out to me, and I was like, oh, hey, you're right, so I have to rebalance the audio. Quick Panther. And let's see, where does this clip actually start? Pretty much like right here. So I'm just going to razor that, and I guess I was kind of fast. So I razored it, I hit B, razored it, quickly hit A, selected this, and then I have a button on my mouse to ripple delete. So that's kind of how I do it. And honestly, like I said, it might be faster to mark in and out and place it on the timeline like that, but with all the buttons I have mapped, it probably not. So I go back to B, and just watch this through. And then I'm going to cut here. And then this is where that's a wonderful face. This is where the next clip starts. That's a very derp face, isn't it?
We're at an administration building.
Alright, so we're going to grab those and delete those.
We're at an administration building.
Oh, she's going to... I think she's covering up the logo on her shirt. There we go.
We're at an administration...
Here we go.
We're in an administration building for my school, and I'm required to hang up artwork twice a year, so this is my first time.
And this is third grade art.
This is third grade.
Most of it's third grade art.
Third grade. These are all, the watercolors are all third grade.
Yeah.
The positive negatives are third grade, and then the active line paintings are second grade.
Okay. Lots of artwork. So we're going to cut here, and then we continue onward. So I'm just going to fast forward through this part because, I mean, it's pretty straightforward. I mean, I'm just cutting what I need and you know, leaving out what I don't, etc. So it's pretty straightforward. I'll be right back. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching, and let's meet back tomorrow, shall we? Okay, and I'm done. And you're saying, wait, what? Well, I don't edit based on the content. I actually edit usually, especially if it's straightforward like this, based on the waveforms. That's why I actually have the waveforms pop up, is because I can see when I stop talking and I can see when I start talking. So that's kind of how I do it. That's why it took me less than the amount of time to actually edit this down. Now that it is edited down, I will watch through it completely to make sure that the cuts are good and make sure I didn't leave anything stupid in there, and then we'll go from there. Okay, so we just watched through the entire video. You probably know this. I did a little more cutting in the middle of that, and more importantly, I added a marker. Shift up jumps to markers, and this is just where I feel that the title is probably going to go. So the first thing we're going to do is go back to the beginning, home and end, jump to the beginning and ending of a timeline. And we're going to go to a different one that has this intro, copy it, come back over here and paste it. And that's generally how I do that. Let's go into here. And normally this is, I'm doing it from the previous day, so it's real easy whenever I come to the date. I can be like, oh, it's this. But in this particular scenario, this was actually yesterday's vlog, so Thursday the 19th. So Thursday, January 19th. Some of you have probably wondered in the past why the 8s come out like that, and I honestly have no idea. It's the same way in Photoshop. If you have your if the 8 is over 100 points, 100 font size, it does this. I have no idea why. I've never figured that out, but it does that. So I've considered actually scaling this down because it doesn't have to be that much smaller, and it won't do that anymore. I just never got around to it. It's one of those things, you know, on my list to do sometime. Okay, so now that we have this set, we're going to go ahead and render that out, which is Command S, Command R. And shift down to jump to that other marker. And we'll go over here to the video tab and click text. We'll mark a 1 second text thing and bring it in here. And I decided to call this million views. A million views. A million views. So I decided to call it a million views. I didn't remember. So come up here and I think we'll do the actual number. So a million views. We're going to change the font to Railroad Gothic. I generally do left. The origin has to be -630. And then I just scale it up. There we go. And I position that wherever I want it. Million views. A million views. Now I want this to cut off where I start my next words. Million. And I figure out where views starts. Cut that in half. Go back to the controls and get rid of the words. There we go. Just hit a million views. A million up. Okay. And that's it. We've already watched the entire thing to make sure it's okay. We have the intro. We have the title. So hit home. Shift Z shows us the entire timeline. We can see that it's 4 minutes 56 seconds, which is a pretty good time. I tried not to make them too long. So we'll Command S again. And then from here, we have a few options. Generally, what I want to do is from here, I want to do send to compressor. Now, there's a few issues with this. For one, you can just export QuickTime Conversion, and you can export right out of Final Cut. If you do that, Final Cut will be busy, and you won't be able to use Final Cut. And generally, I'm using Final Cut to do several things at once. You can do send to compressor, which is what I normally do, and it'll open up the sequence in compressor. Now, that there are some advantages and disadvantages to this. If you do this, and I have one set here for vlog export, and I have a destination for vlogs. We're just going to change this file name to there. If you do send to compressor, you are not allowed to use Quick Cluster. Quick Cluster will not work. So you have to use this computer. So it's going to export slower, but if you do it that way, then you can actually use Final Cut. If you use compressor, you'll be able to use Final Cut. If you wanted to use Quick Cluster, you can, but you have to export a reference file out of Final Cut. And honestly, it's just not worth the amount of time. I only do that if I need something rushed. Like if I need a file really, really quick, then I'll do it that way. I usually only do that for LP stuff because it can take about 4 hours to export an LP. But if I use a quick cluster on the LP, it takes about 50 minutes to 70 minutes, so about an hour. So that's what I use quick cluster for. So I'm going to use this computer because if I use quick cluster, it won't work. I'll hit submit. So now we're not on quick cluster on this computer, and it's going to show up in just a second. There it is. And it's going to take a little longer, but honestly, vlogs go pretty quickly. They don't take all that long, so that's going to export. And while that's exporting, what I normally do is find out what thumbnail I want. I usually base it on the title. So if it's 1 million views, I want something where I'm like, happy or smiling or something. That's kind of a weird, funny face. So I'm going to mark that so I know where that is. Just kind of scrub through. I was hoping for some kind of like smile or something. That's just a weird face. Looks like I might have had something there. Some of you are saying, "You really do this?" Yes, actually, this is legit what I do. Let's go back here. That's a pretty cool face. Okay, so then what we're gonna do is come up here, export QuickTime Conversion, and we're gonna go send this to downloads, and we want a still image. We'll hit save. So it's going to send a still image here. We're going to drag this over into Photoshop. And first thing I do is Command J, which duplicates the layer. And then I'm going to do Command Option C and change the pixels to half that. So 640 by 360. That just gives me more space to work with. So I prefer doing that. I'm going to scale that down. I'm holding Option and Shift. And I can kind of move this wherever I want. Okay, I think that's good because I don't need the bottom of the shirt, and if I wanted to, I could try and position it like this. So I could put the words over here, but I think in this particular case, I'm going to leave this mostly alone. Then I'm just going to add text here, maybe 1 million, or maybe actually. Oh, that's the other thing. The 8s do that, and also the 0s. So anytime you see a 0, I'm actually using O's. Fun fact. Okay, so we're just going to grab that and center it, and scale up. And we'll put that there. Maybe add some drop shadow to it. I normally do no distance on my drop shadow. Spread, size. Let's see, let's do less size. All right, let's go back up here. Auto tone normally does some good stuff, not in this case. If I want to adjust it manually, I'll do levels. Bring up my lights. Crunch the blacks a little bit. Doesn't look terrible. The lighting in the room is always a little yellow, so I'll go to the color balance. Normally highlights is what you want to get rid of. Just a bit. Okay, so then we have before and after, so we got rid of that a little bit. Probably a little magenta in mid. Just a bit. There we go. So that's before and after. Not a huge difference, but man, I should show you the color differences on Daily Pack. You guys would appreciate that a lot more. And then a lot of times I'll actually play with saturation a bit. Obviously too much is too much, but if you just start here and you come down until it doesn't actually kill you, sometimes you can see a difference there. So just a little bit. I just have the belief that saturating things a little more is a little more interesting to people that see these thumbnails. Then we'll do Command Option Shift S. It's the save for web and devices. I automatically have it set for ping 24. We'll do save, and we'll save it into the downloads. And by this time, we're doing pretty good over here. We got 4.5 minutes on this. It's pretty much just a waiting game at this point, but while I'm waiting on that, I'm going to show you guys, I'll actually show you guys some of the color correction. The color correction actually changes a lot on Daily Pack, and I don't know why I'm showing you this, it's just kind of fun. But you can actually do a before and after here. This is what it looks like when I shoot it. And when you bring this in, it doesn't actually look all that bad. But when you do color correction, then it looks like this, and it looks better. And actually, whenever we're done filming a lot of daily packs, in this case, we filmed the entire box of Innistrad, so there's 36 packs. When we do that, every episode gets a little bit better. So if we go back here to 62, you can see it's still a little yellow. It's pretty warm. Then we go up to here to 63, and we see that it's changed a little bit. And when we get to 64, obviously it's getting a little cooler. So it actually takes me a few episodes to decide just how I want the color. Basically, it's really hard to do color correction. It's really hard on your eyes. I mean, obviously, you're probably saying, well, duh, this is wrong. Well, when you bring that in, it really doesn't look so bad. It only looks that bad in comparison to this. And it's an evolution over time where it becomes this, because first it's this, and then it's this, and then finally it's this. So you can actually see even between these that there's a huge difference. So anyway, I just thought that was interesting. I actually just realized that I haven't uploaded the other days, so I can't upload this and show you how I do it there, but it's pretty straightforward. I mean, we have our day here with our thumbnail, and this is going to be exported. So I can't upload this yet because I have to get 783, 784, and 785 up. 783 is actually done. It's just not up yet. By the time you guys are watching this, obviously it's up, but I don't have them up at the moment. So I have to get those up. But yeah, that is how I make vlogs. And like I said, you're not supposed to edit like I do. But honestly, I really do feel that in the current situation, what I'm using, it's actually faster. But you shouldn't get used to it like that, probably. I mean, I guess I have. I probably screwed myself by doing it that way. I go off to art school. I do video editing in art school, and I'm a video editor. That's my trade, and then I do it this way. But anyway, probably done a lot of rambling. Maybe you learned something. That would be nice if you guys actually learned something out of this. I usually don't do any video effects. I don't do color correction on the vlog just because, quite frankly, I don't have time. Could it use it? Yeah. I mean, yeah. This is obviously a little yellow. You could change it a little bit, but quite frankly, I don't have time with all the projects I'm doing. I mean, you can just look in here. Skyrim. I've got vlogs. I have daily pack, and then I have the demos and everything. So I'm doing a lot. And if I had time, then I probably would do color correction on this stuff. But the fact of the matter is, I don't have time to do that. If I did, wouldn't that be a wonderful world to add color correction on this clip and start playing with it and saying it's a little bit yellow. Let's cool that down a little bit. There we go. You can actually use this to see before and after. You're like, man, that's a big difference. Or maybe a small difference. I think it's probably a bigger difference once you look at it compared to like daily packs. You can actually crunch the blacks a little bit. Raise the saturation maybe a teeny bit. Push the whites up. Play with the mids. And you start getting a pretty different feel for your clip. Things look way different than they did a second ago. So I don't know. I enjoy stuff like this. It's fun, but it's not something I'd want to do all the time because honestly, color correction sucks. I really do hate it. Whenever you have to spend time actually doing all of this stuff, and you can come back to it the next day and actually punch yourself in the face. In fact, this might not look good to some of you, and that's fine. But whenever you do color correction, you have to take breaks and come back to it because honestly, it does start looking really weird. I mean, you can do crazy stuff too, but why would you do that? It doesn't make any sense. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this tutorial. It's not really a tutorial. It wasn't supposed to be. I just kind of showed you a few things that I normally do. As for editing the LPs, it's the exact same way. I cut out the loading screens. That's about it. So yeah, some of you are like, "Why are you doing this at 8 in the morning?" My schedule is I wake up every day around 6:15 a.m. That's when Mao gets up to go to work, so I get up too. So by 6:25 usually I'm at the computer working. So that's my day, and I got more stuff to do. So thank you guys for watching. Hope this explains a little better the process. If you have any questions, maybe I did something without explaining. I tried to even say like the button combinations and stuff I was using, but um, if you have, like I think to place a marker is M. So if I left anything out, just let me know because I like I like teaching. I like doing tutorials. It's just I'd never have time to do them. But hopefully you learned something. I'm gonna stop rambling. Consider this a bonus, and I'll talk to you guys later.